What is your initial take on what you've heard in the last couple hours?
Well, judged through the fog and bureaucratic understanding, what Britain is facing off with now is a network of jihadists. That's lesson number one.
Do we know for sure it's jihadists?
Every time I've asked the question when an operation like this is happening, I say give it a few hours. Give it until ISIS would issue the press release. There's a pattern. Of course, we don't know that this cell or these individuals are jihadists per se linked to ISIS, but that's a general confrontation. In general terms, the UK is dealing with that threat. But what is important to understand is that that threat is linked to a European threat and an international one, which basically interact with Syria, Iraq, Libya. And you just asked the question, Judge, about the possibility of having similar operations or attempts for operations here in the United States. We need to start understanding that what we're dealing with is an international network, not just locals.
Okay, and how do we do it, Waleed? Look, Americans, and the one thing that, you know, having lived through 9/11, the one thing that's so important for our viewers to hear now is that you've got to have the ability to be in immediate contact with a family member if you are not with them, and set up some kind of a protocol so that we can stay in touch with our loved ones. But beyond that, what do you say to the United States, to law enforcement now? We've got the travel ban and judges striking it down. We know local law enforcement is, for the most part, on top of their game, but they may not know about this kind of stuff.
Law enforcement, I have interacted with them for over 25 years. All agencies, local agencies, you know, giving lectures about this jihadi threat and others.
Right.
There is a consensus, Judge, that the major problem is that the national government needs to inform and educate and mobilize the public. The public is the largest ally. See the reaction to the terrorists or the jihadists. If the individuals are educated and informed, they would react differently. I heard probably the report a few minutes ago that some in London tried to, in another location, tried to attack that attacker. That is the reaction we're going to get to. So we're going to have to get to a society that understands that we are at war, that understand how these tactics operate, and have a minimum reaction to it. That's number one. Number two, very importantly in this case, we need to take measures. Of course, we need to go faster in the downfall of ISIS in the Middle East. We need probably to have a better vetting system. And yes, we have a court system, and I'll be very happy to be part of a dialogue with these judges. The judges need to understand that the nation is at war with the jihadists. It's not just a criminal activity. It's a war against the jihadists.
Well, you know, when you talk about a vetting system, and I know that you were an advisor to Donald Trump, the presidential candidate, what we do know is vetting is going to be very hard when we have people coming here without a background or people coming here that we don't even know about. But even more than that, when you talk about dialogue with judges, you know, politics in this country, unfortunately, is, yeah, I think a lot of judges are forgetting precedent and ruling on politics. And that is very disturbing. But I do agree with you that local law enforcement needs to be informed by Homeland Security, by the federal agencies. And I've worked with local law enforcement for 30 years. And they need to be able to identify and recognize the threats. And they can't be seen as two separate competing agencies. Anyway, I want to thank you, Dr. Phares, for being with us this evening.
Thank you.